Imagine earning so much cash that rats eat $1 billion of it every single year and you barely notice. Imagine spending $2,500 a month just on rubber bands to keep your banknotes from exploding out the windows. That wasn't a Netflix fantasy. That was Tuesday for Pablo Escobar. The poorest boy turned richest criminal the world has ever seen. It's a story that defies belief. Stick around, because in the next few minutes, you're going to learn exactly how he stitched together a $30 billion cocaine empire, hid half of it in banana fields, and murdered anyone who tried to audit the books. Section 1. Kid from Medellín. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born in 1949 in the mountain city of Medellín, Colombia, the same place that would later lead the planet in murder statistics. His mom was a school teacher, his dad a peasant farmer, and the family of 9 squeezed into a cinder block house where the weekly budget was smaller than what you probably dropped on coffee this month. Young Pablo learned 3 things fast. Poverty stinks, cops can be bought for pocket change, and if you want the rules to change, you write them in blood. By age 12, he was selling fake lottery tickets. By 16, he'd graduated to stealing tombstones, sanding off the names, and reselling them to newly grieving families. Morbid, sure, but it taught him the first lesson of narco-economics. People will pay anything to bury their problems. He was always willing to provide the solution. Section 2. The cocaine light bulb moment. In the late 70s, cocaine was the hot new party drug in Miami, but the supply chain was still amateur hour. Colombian farmers sold a kilo of coca paste for about $60. That same kilo became 30 grand on the streets of Florida simply because nobody had scaled logistics like FedEx. Escobar looked at those numbers the way Jeff Bezos later looked at bookstores. He didn't want a slice, he wanted the entire conveyor belt. So he bought labs deep in the jungle, paid chemists 10 times the local wage, and cut a deal for a Bahamian K named Norman's K, where the only law was pay in cash and don't ask why the runway lights are off. Overnight, Escobar controlled the cheapest step, production, and the most expensive step, getting product into noses. That difference became his personal ATM, spitting out roughly $62 million per day at peak. Section 3. Plata o Plomo economics. Here's the dirty secret about building a multi-billion-dollar crime syndicate. The product is only half the battle. The other half is brutal HR management. Escobar's employee handbook had 2 motivational options: plata o plomo, silver or lead. Bribe a cop, mayor, or Supreme Court judge, and you got a loyal friend. Decline the envelope, and you got a bullet. This wasn't just an abstract threat. It was a policy enforced with terrifying consistency. In 1985, he wanted extradition papers destroyed, so he funded the M-19 guerrillas to storm the Palace of Justice. 98 people died, the papers burned, and Colombia learned that questioning Pablo was treason. When presidential candidate Luis Carlos Galán vowed to extradite traffickers, Escobar wired $500,000 to a hit squad and blew Avianca Flight 203 out of the sky, killing 107 innocents to get one man who wasn't even on the plane. The math was simple. Terror is cheaper than lobbying, and bullets don't leave a paper trail. Section 4. The ocean of cash. Let's talk about the money avalanche. At his zenith, Escobar smuggled 15 tons of cocaine every single day. That's roughly 1 ton per hour, or a line stretching from New York to LA if you laid it out. Revenue hit $420 million per week, enough to buy the Empire State Building, flip it, and still have petty cash for a Caribbean island. But here's the kicker. You can't wire drug money to Wells Fargo. So Escobar stored bricks of $100 bills in warehouses, basements, and even in the walls of his aunt's house. Accountants estimate 10% of the cash was eaten by rats, lost in floods, or simply rotted into compost. That's a $1 billion annual rodent tax, and nobody ever filed a claim. Rubber band budgets ballooned to 30 grand a month because every farmer turned money counter needed bundles thick as phone books. When the DEA raided a single ranch, they found 8 million stashed in a septic tank. The stench was awful. The joke was that even the cash was flush. It's almost comedic, if terrifyingly real. Section 5. Hacienda Nápoles. Theme park dreams. Flush with lucre, Escobar went full supervillain. He bought a sprawling estate called Hacienda Nápoles, slapping on a private zoo with giraffes, elephants, and 4 hippos that, incredibly, still haunt Colombian rivers today. having bred into a feral population. He ordered a life-size dinosaur replica, a bull ring, and a runway long enough for Soviet-era cargo planes. Visiting politicians partied beside cocaine-filled piñatas, while kids from the slums received free juice boxes and soccer shirts. It was Disneyland with a body count. When a zookeeper accidentally let a rhino loose, Escobar allegedly laughed, shot the man in the kneecaps, and promoted the rhino to mascot. The estate cost $63 million, pocket change compared with the $2 billion fortune he kept buried in 55-gallon drums across the countryside. Treasure hunters still scan Antioquia with metal detectors, hoping to strike Escobar's version of El Dorado. That allure of hidden wealth persists. Section 6. The Robin Hood Mirage. So why didn't locals revolt against him? Because Escobar profoundly understood the optics of poverty and exploited it masterfully. He built 5,000 cinderblock homes in the barrios, handed out cash at traffic lights, and funded soccer fields where kids could dream of becoming the next Pelé instead of the next hitman. He even won a seat as an alternate congressman, promising to pay off Colombia's national debt with his personal checkbook. The press nicknamed him Robin Hood Paisa, the thief who gave back. But here's the reality. Scholars crunched the numbers, and philanthropy equaled maybe 1% of cartel revenue. It was brilliant marketing wrapped in compassion, and it worked terrifyingly well. When cops raided the slums, neighbors formed human chains to protect the very man who was murdering their country. The moral of that story? Buy enough goodwill and people will, astonishingly, forgive the bodies stacked in your closet. Section 7. Bizarre, bloody, and bonkers. Need proof that unlimited money warps reality? Escobar once burned $2 million in cash to keep his daughter warm while they were on the run. He flew in Michelin star chefs to cook simple Colombian arepas. He reportedly bought a taxi fleet just to pick up hitchhikers and interview them about their dreams, sometimes handing over apartments as tips. Yet the whimsy always circled back to carnage. When a trusted lieutenant skimmed a single load, Escobar invited him to a pool party, chained him to the diving board, and let crocodiles do the auditing. Another time, he mailed a pilot's head to the man's wife because the plane was late. The paradox was truly surreal. Escobar could be tender with his kids, and 10 minutes later, order a car bombing outside a preschool. This extreme juxtaposition is precisely why we can't look away. He was a living contradiction, equal parts Santa Claus and Stalin. Section 8. War with the State. By 1989, the Colombian government, prodded by Washington, had one goal: extradite Escobar or bury him. Escobar's answer was total war. He declared a pardon or a tomb for every politician supporting extradition. Car bombs detonated daily in Bogotá. Body counts rivaled active war zones. Homicide rates in Medellín spiked to 381 per 100,000, 40 times what the UN calls endemic. In 1 year alone, over 5,000 murders were traced to cartel orders. Yet the more blood flowed, the more Escobar's legend grew. Teenage boys in the comunas idolized sicarios, who drove BMWs and dated beauty queens. The state responded with a US-backed task force, the Search Block, a hybrid of cops, soldiers, and DEA agents armed with satellite phones and a license to kill on sight. The hunt would last 16 brutal months, cost hundreds of lives, and turn Colombia into a live-fire crime thriller. Section 9. La Catedral Prison Farce. In 1991, Escobar cut a deal: surrender, confess to one trafficking charge, and serve a maximum of 5 years in a custom-built prison, La Catedral, staffed by his own guards and equipped with a jacuzzi, wet bar, and disco. The government figured it was cheaper than civil war. Escobar, he figured it was a 5-year vacation with very tall walls. From inside, he continued running the cartel, ordering hits via satellite phone while hosting orgiastic parties. When prosecutors tried to transfer him to a real jail, Escobar simply walked out the front gate, waved at the cameras, and vanished into the jungle. This escape embarrassed Colombia so badly that the Cali cartel, rivals who hated Escobar, allied with the Search Block and formed the vigilante group Los Pepes. Translation: people persecuted by Pablo. The hunter had well and truly become the hunted. Section 10. The final shootout. For 15 months, Escobar shuffled between safe houses, always one step ahead of a bullet. The Cali cartel leaked intel. Los Pepes bombed his family's properties. The DEA tracked his radio chatter. On December 2nd, 1993, Escobar celebrated his 44th birthday by making a crucial mistake, calling his son on a newly activated phone line. The signal pinged a rooftop in Los Olivos, Medellín. Within minutes, a 24-man search block team encircled the building. Escobar scrambled barefoot across terracotta tiles, a .38 revolver and a satellite phone in hand. Shots cracked. A bullet severed his femoral artery. According to legend, Escobar took one final breath, smiled and said, "I will always be in Colombia." An autopsy photo shows a corpsey grin that launched 1,000 t-shirts. Colombians poured into the streets, some cheering, some weeping, all wondering if the nightmare was truly over. Section 11. Where did the money go? Officials auctioned Hacienda Nápoles to a private firm that turned it into a water park. Hippos still breed in the lakes. Real estate seizures covered maybe 5% of his fortune. The rest, tens of billions in cash, gold, and foreign accounts, simply vanished. It's almost impossible to comprehend. In 2025, a farmer named José Mariana Cartolos claimed he unearthed 600 million buried in oil drums on his land. Colombian authorities confiscated the haul for social programs, but the story lit up Reddit and TikTok, sending thousands of treasure hunters shoveling into the rainforest. Experts think most of the paper money has long since composted into soil nutrients. In other words, Escobar's greatest ironic legacy might be Colombia's richest earthworms. Think about that. Section 12. Lingering questions. So, how did a lower middle-class kid become the planet's wealthiest outlaw? He fused 3 ingredients: ruthless violence, strategic bribery, and the almost Silicon Valley-esque ability to scale cocaine like Amazon scales toilet paper. Every dollar he made was fertilized by a body in a ditch, yet millions still remember him as a folk hero. Ask yourself, honestly, if your neighborhood lived in cardboard shacks and a guy built you a concrete palace, would you care how many strangers he killed? This paradox is deeply uncomfortable, but true crime thrives on that discomfort. Escobar proved that morality has a price tag, and sometimes that tag is literally rubber banded to a mountain of cash. If this story bent your brain, smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's wildest criminal empires. Drop a comment. What would you do with 420 million a week? Save the world or burn it down? Your answer says more about you than you think. Pablo Escobar once quipped, "Better a grave in Colombia than a cell in the United States." He got his wish, and in exchange, the world got a chilling cautionary tale of unchecked ambition. His empire rose on white powder, floated on an ocean of blood, and dissolved into a complex, enduring legend. The rats got 1 billion, the farmers got myths, and we got a question that still echoes. How much money is enough when enough never exists?